Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this morning's update on the Tropical Atlantic Basin. So, looking at our Tropical Atlantic Basin, we have Franklin, which as of 5 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time, Friday, August the 25th, has maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour, a minimum central pressure of 1,000 millibars, and east-northeasterly movement at 6 miles per hour. We have Invest 92L, which has a 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 48 hours and a 50% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 7 days. The remnants of Emily, which are unlikely to develop now, with only a 20% chance of tropical cyclone development over the next 48 hours to 7 days. And then we have our most important system to the United States. Disturbance 1 as of 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Friday, August 25th, 2023. Northwestern Caribbean Sea and Eastern Gulf of Mexico. A broad area of low pressure over the northwestern Caribbean Sea is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of the system during the next several days, and a tropical depression is likely to form late this weekend or early next week, while moving generally northward over the northwestern Caribbean Sea and eastern Gulf of Mexico. Interest in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, western Cuba, and Florida should monitor the progress of the system. Formation chance for 48 hours is low at 30%, and formation chance through 7 days is now high at 70%. So if you're living especially in the Yucatan Peninsula, Cuba, and especially western Florida through the Panhandle, make sure you're watching this disturbance very closely, as development is now likely. So getting into these models, looking at the 6Z run of the GFS model. GFS has Franklin over north of Puerto Rico as a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm. And then as we go through Saturday, Franklin is expected to strengthen into a hurricane as it kind of meanders north of the Caribbean and northeast of the Turks and Caicos. And then going into Sunday and Monday, could see a strengthening hurricane, maybe even a major hurricane from Franklin. And then this is where a Gulf system comes into play. We see a surge of moisture moving off the Yucatan Peninsula in Central America, and this developed. And now the GFS is showing signs of organization by late Monday and Tuesday, while Franklin becomes a major hurricane to the west of Bermuda. And then going into Wednesday or Tuesday afternoon, now the GFS is showing a tropical storm or depression moving into the southeastern Gulf, bringing very heavy rain to Cuba and Florida, while Franklin moves to the northeast towards Atlantic Canada. And now the GFS is indicating a landfall as a weak tropical storm early Wednesday morning north of Tampa, Florida, while Franklin races northward towards Newfoundland, very close to Nova Scotia by Wednesday afternoon, and our Gulf system skirts the Carolina coast, bringing heavy rain to the Carolina coast Wednesday and Thursday. And then we see Franklin move out to sea as well as the Gulf system. So looking at the 0Z run of the European model shows Franklin strengthening over the next several days. Into Monday, a potential major hurricane very close to Bermuda. So Bermuda, watch out for Franklin as well. And then the European model starts to organize a tropical depression near Cancun by early Tuesday morning. And then as we go into Wednesday, we see the European organizing a tropical storm west of the Florida Keys in South Florida. And then the European strengthens this Gulf system to a strong tropical storm or weak hurricane, also just north of Tampa by Wednesday afternoon, while Franklin plows into Newfoundland and skirts Nova Scotia. And then the European skirts this Gulf disturbance along the Carolina coast and Georgia through Thursday morning. And the Euro kind of gets pretty intense on this system, possibly a Category 2 hurricane, as it leaves the US by Friday and Saturday. And then looking at the Canadian model, The Canadian model shows much of the same with Franklin, rapidly strengthening over the next couple of days. And then the Canadian starts to develop a tropical storm in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico by early Tuesday. And then the Canadian model starts to make this a hurricane, Category 1 hurricane by late Tuesday. And once again, we see a landfall somewhere in the Big Bend of Florida as a weak Category 1 hurricane in the Canadian. So now it looks like all the models are latching onto at least a tropical storm, if not a weak Category 1 hurricane, making a landfall somewhere in western Florida. So western Florida, make sure you're really paying attention to this Gulf disturbance. And then meanwhile, Franklin in the Canadian also gets close to Nova Scotia by Wednesday and Thursday and plows into Newfoundland Thursday, while the Gulf system skirts and brings torrential rain to Georgia and the Carolinas Wednesday and gets picked up by the trough ejection and pushed out to sea by Thursday and Friday. So a brief look at Franklin on Zoom Earth. Franklin is actually not looking too healthy right now, as it's been encountering some very strong wind shear, pushing a lot of the storms to the east. Looking at the cone, 1 p.m. Central Time this afternoon, 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm, eventually slowly strengthening by tomorrow morning, 1 a.m., 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm, Saturday, 1 p.m., 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm, and then Franklin's going to move into a much lower wind shear environment by Sunday, 1 a.m. Central American Time, Category 1 hurricane moving to the northwest. Sunday, 1 p.m. Central Time, 90-mile-per-hour Category 1 hurricane moving to the northwest. Monday, 1 a.m., 105-mile-per-hour Category 2 hurricane curving to the north. And then right now the track is west of Bermuda, but if you're in Bermuda, make sure you're closely monitoring Franklin for any changes in the track. And impacts will be likely due to Bermuda being on the right side of the storm. Tuesday, 1 a.m. Central American Time, nearing major hurricane status as a 110-mile-per-hour Category 2 hurricane moving to the north. And then Franklin's going to race northeast, 100-mile-per-hour Category 2 hurricane by Wednesday, 1 a.m., kind of moving in the general direction of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. So Atlantic Canada, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland, make sure you're really monitoring Franklin closely, as impacts are going to be likely. Thanks for watching this morning's tropical update. Make sure you're really monitoring the Gulf system if you live across Florida, western Cuba, and the Yucatan Peninsula, and Franklin across Atlantic Canada. Thanks for watching. Please stay safe and have a wonderful day, my friends.